We're in business!
Yay!
All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of Couch Talks with your girl, Andrea. Today, we are featuring a Rochester native, an amazing actor, Shay Holloway. How are you doing today, sir?
Hey, what's up, Andrea? How you doing?
I'm wonderful. So, for those that don't know Shay, he grew up in Rochester, just like me, you, whoever's watching. And now he's paving his own way within the acting world. And we're going to talk about this amazing project that I've watched grow over the last 4 years at least. But first and foremost, for anyone that's watching, one that may be in Rochester that's curious about how to really get into acting, where did you start? What was that first step for you?
Oh man, I want to say the first step, like I said before, I was a little bit of a dork, like very heavy, and I was really into Harry Potter. And when the movie dropped, I got super inspired because it was like a youthful ensemble. So it was really cool to see like all these youthful people really coming together to make the project come to life. You know, it's really cool.
So did you start with theater, or did you start with film? What was your first passion?
Theater. I started off doing a lot of theater. I attended School of the Arts. Went to Jiva Theater Summer Academy.
Whoop,
Yeah, whoop, whoop.
Alumni.
But yeah, it's been pretty cool. I started off with theater, and then I got a heavy interest in TV and film, but at the time, I couldn't find a way to get into it here. So I knew I wanted to study TV and film more seriously. So I went to New York for college and stuff, and studied there for like the year that I could be there. And yeah, lived there since, auditioning and stuff like that. And my first gig was Oprah Winfrey Network. So
woo! Yeah!
5A5.
We out here.
We out here in these streets, son. No.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so as far as advice from your perspective, because I know each of us have a different type of journey that we take. What would your advice be for someone that may be in a small city or a small town that wants to get into acting? What would your advice to them be?
Go out there and do it. Don't listen to the things in your head that's restricting you, because life is gonna be like pretty restrictive enough. You don't need to have yourself going against you, and you gotta like not get in your head and compare your journey to others, because literally we're all running our own race at our own pace, and comparison is the thief of joy. You know what I mean? We all have a different storyline, and I feel like when you sit back and appreciate what's around you, you become like more abundant, and you become more aware of, where you're at. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So, I think I would say jump in there and have faith in yourself and be your own best cheerleader. Like the world will be working against you for the most part. Well, that's a bad way to look at it, but you got to be your own good cheerleader.
Yeah, you don't want to put yourself down when the rest of the world, you never, like you said, you don't want to have a negative outlook on the world, but you can't expect the most,
There you go. You got to be ready.
Yeah. So in terms of, because, I went to LA, you went to New York. What was that experience like in New York for acting?
Oh, man, it was really, I went to American Musical and Dramatic Academy, and it was like actors boot camp. We used to get up at like 6 a.m. every day, and we used to get there and do our Pilates and all this other stuff I never ever thought I would see myself doing, because I was a pretty big kid in high school in Jiva. I didn't see myself doing all that. But, I really had the passion to get out there and pursue the dream. So every day, got in there as like boot camp. And then we'd do that for like an hour. And then we would move into like our more, our curriculum or whatever. We'll start doing like scene studies. And we had this one thing where we had to like go out every day and people watch and stuff like that. And I felt lightweight like a stalker. So I'm like,
creep. I love that.
But it's dope though. Don't get me wrong. Because like since I've looked at people another way, I make up scenarios in my head. I'm like, oh my God, I can see this character in this type of thing, or I come up with scenarios in my head. I'm very imaginative, so it's cool. But it does come off as stalkery, especially on my end, because I'm like 6 foot, and those people are gonna be like, oh, what's going on with this guy? But for the most part.
I got these big old eyes, so I'm just sitting there staring at people like, oh, I'm sorry.
What you looking at?
Your walk. Like, you're like, what? Sorry. Right.
She watches all.
Right. I'm just like eating, like watching people, like that's what acting does to you. You have to find like stories all around you because there's so
That's
many
it.
to be told from just the world
Yeah.
that you're looking at. And
Word.
I want to get into the stories that you've been telling. So how did you take this step from being an actor to maybe then exploring writing?
Man. Um, my whole angle with that is like I think everybody in the mom knows that I'm a Leo or whatever. So like
Oh, your
I
birthday!
love
Happy
yeah,
birthday!
thank you. I love like that energy and stuff, but at the same time, I have that like Virgo energy too. So it's kind of like I don't want to have the shine on me and stuff. And it's like there's so many other people that's doing something similar that isn't getting the time of day. And it's like I feel like, you know, besides you guys, there aren't really that many platforms that like really help out like the urban, you know what I mean? Like let me take that back because there's been a couple of advancements in the past couple of years. I got to shout out Open Mic.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
you guys obviously. There's another one too, with something Rochester. I feel like Calvin Eaton is a part of it.
Oh,
But you know, things like that, I think it's so dope. Rochester collaborates or something like that. Really cool. So I take that back actually. But I wanted to do that at the time. I wanted to be another outlet for people to, you know, show their stuff and, you know, yeah.
There aren't a whole lot of outlets. There aren't even it's like Black owned outlets that want to, help
Right.
control the Black narrative. And sometimes I think that's what we need, are people that are just like in the midst of the culture that want to help represent what that culture
Right.
stands for. And I think especially within the atmosphere we're in now, I feel that there is a change happening, and there will be more of these voices to be heard and more of these platforms. And it's a blessing to have certain platforms that have been established, but to hopefully to see it grow. And that's why
I
I'm
love
so
that.
excited to see Dark Justice like being on a different platform and other people will be able to experience. So can you talk to us about that, the whole creation of this show?
All right. So Dark Justice is created by Mike Gerbino, another Rochester native. Um Dark Justice really came after the events in Ferguson in 2015. And you know, we just wanted to talk about it but in a lighthearted way, I guess. My character, Amir Johnson, is, you know, trying to do the right thing in a flawed system. And I feel like that's a lot of our stories because we want to go out there and do that, but we have all these things set up against us, especially in terms of like race and, you know what I mean? And racism built into like the system, systemic racism. There's the word.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, it points it puts a good light on the theme of race relations and community policing and all that stuff, but in a light-hearted manner, and it gets people talking, and it kind of it lessens it, so it's not as uncomfortable. Wow, like that was just now when I just tried to explain that. But yeah, we're just trying to shine light on it and have open the book of discussion.
Mm.
Yeah.
Now, how important do you think a show like Dark Justice is in the climate that we're in today?
Man, it's crazy. It's like scary. I get chills. It's like a time loop. Like I said, this was based off like not really based, but this was inspired by the events in 2015 in Ferguson. So to feel that same type of energy and all these years later, it's crazy. Man, I just think it's great. I think it's awesome that people have their phones out recording stuff and catching things that that some corrupt people think they can get away with. Yeah, I think it's great. I think we're coming a long way in that aspect. And I think Dark Justice's role in that is to just, open up that thing of discussion, but make it more lighthearted, I guess.
Okay.
We're more of a Simpsons-esque approach.
Oh, okay. I like that. So in terms of your character, are there any because I feel like he's a little different from what I've experienced dealing with you personally.
Yeah.
But what commonalities would you say that you have with your character?
Ah, man, we're both trying to be better people, that's for sure. Um, yeah, we both care about what our passions are. I mean, this character, he really wants to do the right thing and be a really good cop. And I want to get out there and be like a really good artist and stuff. So
Yeah.
I can see those commonalities too. Yeah, and I think there's a certain humility to both of us, honestly. Like, I think I actually use a lot of my humility to the character because you got when you're playing a character, you are kind of adding a little bit of yourself to it. People confront and say, "No, you're
Oh,
not,"
he had his
but
own.
you are. Yeah, you're adding the sprinkle. You're coming from a certain mindset of you because it's you, it's your perspective. You know what I mean? So I do think there are commonalities like the humility, but the passion to want to be better and do better,
Mhm.
and have things against you, skin tone and stuff.
Yeah.
So many, but yeah.
No, I love that. So, in terms of the conversations that are being had online in regards to police brutality and defunding or abolishing the police, do you feel that this show would be something someone with those strong viewpoints would still enjoy watching the show?
Oh man, I think so because it's really like off the cuff. It's really funny. Um, it's really lighthearted. It's really silly. It's serious themes, but Family Guy brings up serious themes. The
Mhm.
Simpsons brings up serious themes. Parks and Rec, The Office, they all do. But we can all find that humor in the real because every joke has a sprinkle of truth in it. It comes from truth. So,
Yeah. It's so true. I encourage everyone to keep their minds open. I understand people have a lot of strong views right now about the police,
of
but I
course,
really appreciate everyone supporting an artist that is telling his story and is expressing himself the best way that he sees fit. And I would highly recommend everyone check it out. I was told by Shay that you are now available to watch this series on, I'm sorry, where?
Amazon Prime, baby.
Oh my God.
You
We
know the
are
little smiley face icon?
right. Oh, I am just so excited about that. So, can you tell us more about the process of getting it to Amazon? What is that like? Because you started filming this right here in Rochester 4 years.
Yeah,
So how do you go
honestly,
from Rochester to Amazon? How does that work?
honestly, I can only speak on the perspective of being that like the actor.
Mhm.
And on my end, it kind of looked like, whoa, this is really cool. Like we've talked about it before, but I didn't like expect it to happen this quickly. I kind of knew it was gonna happen, but I didn't know when it was gonna happen this quickly. I know they were in talks of doing um some more streaming services and stuff because we're also on Stream Now TV. Got to
Yes.
quickly side note, Stream Now TV, a quick independent Netflix type of deal, has all types of indie films. We actually were on there first
Oh,
before anything, and they showed us mad love. So I just got to do that, and it's I think for any actor, any up and coming actor, anywhere in the U.S. or in the world, they should reach out to Stream Now TV. The guy's name is Ron Valderrama. He supports independent film, independent artists. He's the CEO of Stream Now and Stream Now Pro. So you guys, it's on Roku. So we're on Roku as well as Amazon. So
yes. That's awesome. So, in terms of just because sometimes I feel like people don't think that they can just get, and I honestly, I struggle with it too, where it's like, oh, there's just so many steps to take. Like, I feel like I need the right representation before I can take that next step or to get it. What type of advice would you give for someone that may be sitting with fear within their creativity or um, hesitant to take the next step? What type of advice would you give that artist?
not only do you have to be your own best cheerleader, you got to be your own best agent because you know the type of career that you want. Like somebody can help you to the best of their ability and they can try to interpret what they think you want, but you know what you want. So you can be your own best agent. Like it's so easy just reaching out, networking, connecting, just be open and available and it's super easy, honestly.
I'm
I
so
think you have to be your own best agent and your own best cheerleader for sure.
That light is driving me crazy. But yes,
No worries at all.
I completely agree with you. It's you having that confidence and that belief within yourself.
Yeah.
But in terms of you know, taking things to the next step, what does that process look like, and what did it look like for you?
Oh man, it requires a lot of, I could say the positives and the negatives. The positives, it requires a lot of I guess I should address the negatives. Uh they aren't
There's
really negatives.
negatives with positives.
Double edged.
You're always gonna
Yeah,
have that dichotomy with everything.
yeah. There's a balance there. There's a temperance there. But I would say there's a lot of sacrifice, fun times, I guess, like hanging with friends and stuff, because you like are out on the grind. And but all right, so let me share my experience real quick.
Yeah, let's
I
hear it.
moved to the city, and I'm from like the inner city community, and I come from a single parent household. I have like 5 siblings under me. Um, yeah, so that's one set of odds right there, and it was just tough. My mom really was going through financial hardships and stuff at the time. So it was kind of like, you want to be an actor of all things. You don't want to be like a lawyer, doctor. That was like always the thing that everybody went to. But I moved to the city and stuff. And it was super hard. It was super hard, not only because of like the auditions aspects and all that, but it was like hard living there. It was hard it really shaped me to be more independent. I gotta say that. It forced me to really be forward thinking and consider the future more, as opposed to being in the present all the time. Being in the present is great.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. The past is history, but it's good to get lessons from. The present is a present, and the future, it's always good to look towards the future. But I was always in the moment, and I feel like I wasn't looking towards the future, and I wasn't doing the right things to make sure like my future was okay or whatever. So I feel like living there, it kind of forced me to grow up, and it kind of forced me to take risk, and I've become like more comfortable in terms of where I'll be able to go in terms of range, and I'm way more comfortable in like what I know I can do. Whereas I wasn't really before. I was a hermit dork that read a lot of comics, played a lot of video games, a lot of Zelda and Final Fantasy.
I relate.
But hey, it inspired me. That's another inspiration. I'm not gonna knock it. It inspired me too. And I want to get out there and do voice acting and voiceover for video games and cartoons, radios and all that stuff too, I just want to tell whoever is going out to pursue whatever, there's going to be a lot of challenges and stuff, but just like those video games, you're going to have a lot of struggles, but it's so worth it when you get to the end and you have all those new weapons and level ups. Seriously, but it's going to be a lot of struggle. You just got to keep, your head in the game and take it day by day and remain humble and open, because you may know a lot now, but you can always know more. There's definitely more out there than you know. And yeah, just take the risk, jump in the fog. No wombats. It's a good band, but yeah.
I love that. You guys hear that amazing advice from Shay Holloway. He's a Rochester native, went to School of the Arts, grew up right here in our hometown, and he's out there killing it. You can watch his show streaming on streamnow.com.
Streamnowtv.com, but most importantly, Amazon.com. Oh, also, if you wanted to check out our site, darkjusticeshow.com.
That's where I always watch your show, darkjustice.com.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you, man. I'm so excited to see what comes next for you. I can't wait for us to work together.
Oh, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Like, this is the beginning. This is the beginning.
I can't wait. Like, I know I can feel it.
Me too.
We need to just have like a whole like Rochester production.
Man, it's crazy because me and James Keegler, who's also in Dark Justice, he goes by the name MF Scum. We were talking about doing like a big like expo variety show. Don't nobody steal that idea because we already said it on air. But getting all like the Rochester, like the movers and shakers out there, the business people, the artists, like just like really showing the urban parts of Rochester some love. You know what I mean? Yeah, especially after all this craziness.
Yes. Rochester has so much magic in it. People.
So much.
Everyone talks bad about Rochester. I get that it's not like the most fun all the time, but like you could do the same thing here that you can do other places. It's fine.
Literally, that's why I'm back here and not in New York City no more. But
Right. But I think when we're young, you know, we're just like, oh, like Rochester, this, and it kind of pains me, you know, when I'm in LA or when I'm in New York and I meet people from Rochester and they're like, oh, Rochester sucks. I'm like,
I'm not gonna lie. Let me keep it real with you. I'm gonna keep it all the way 100 with you. I'm not about to sit here and act like I never said that before because I did. But let me tell you something. You funny, but let me tell you something. My mind has severely changed because it's like that was my teenage angst mindset, which I feel is totally normal because you're a teenager. You know what I mean? You want to get out, get away from home. You want to start something fresh somewhere else and make your stamp in the world somewhere else, totally independent. I get it. We've all been there. But like you said, Rochester, you can get a lot of stuff done here, and Rochester has a dope film scene. Buffalo too, low key. Well, not low key because it's on air, but everywhere. Buffalo, Rochester. Yeah, and I really honestly feel like no matter where you live, you're gonna always find negatives. So I feel like that's, especially if you were born and raised somewhere, you're just so ready to see some new stuff. You're just saying, "Oh, I hate it," but you never really will hate it because you're gonna get homesick.
It wasn't until I left Rochester and I was like, damn, it's really not that bad at home. Like,
right?
it's not
that bad.
Yeah, and then like I come home and it's like I'm getting involved more where, like you said, the film scene, like Rochester filmmakers, I did short films with them, and there's stuff going on in Buffalo. There's big budget stuff happening in upstate New York too.
Man, for real. Like The Purge was up here.
Yeah.
What else? Spider-Man.
They're filming Nightmare Alley in Buffalo. That's one of my favorite film noirs of all time. So
I shot a film in Silo City, Buffalo.
Are you serious?
Silo City, they shot The Purge there. I was shooting a film with this guy named James Abrams, went to RIT, Caramel Hippo Studios. I have some projects with him as well. Be looking out for him on social medias. But yeah. But let me just say something really quick. Like, I really appreciate you having me today because like you really have really good energy. Like, you hear somebody like, oh, she has this title or that title, and you really mad humble, and you got like, you're really spiritual, and you got a good vibe about you. And I love that we have people like you that like good leaders. You know what I mean? Good leaders in the right spot. So keep doing your thing. Like, it's much love. Rochester behind you. Yeah.
Oh my God. Wow. Thank you. I greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much. And
anytime.
Whatever I can to make, you know, my community better, my people better. And I want to help put people on a platform that can also help spread that light. So I'm very grateful that you took the time today to talk to us too about your show.
Thank you.
And I do have to get to another meeting.
Of course.
I'm so grateful for this time, and I'm so excited for this next chapter because it's just the beginning, baby.
It's just the beginning. You already know. Man, I mean, I hope we do get a next season because, you know, nothing's final. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and like you said, like, people, what's that one show? There's this one show, Impractical Jokers. It's been on so many different networks through the years. And I feel like this project, we really lucked out because it's like super timeless, and it's addressing like quotas and like police silence and all these important things.
That's where I want to see it next.
You speak in my language. Oh man. All right, this is gonna be the beginning of a beautiful partnership. All right.
We're gonna manifest that.
That's it.
That's what I felt when I first watched the pilot. I was like, well, this feels like Adult Swim, like 2 a.m.
Right. They got that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
It. Well, I'm excited. And I'm excited to see.
You never know.
Next. Yeah. You guys keep an eye on this man. You know, take pride in where you come from, because you never know where you're gonna go, you know?
Exactly.
So, we thank you all so much for watching. Shay, thank you so much for your time today, and stay in touch, man. Let me know what you need to cast, you know, a little film song, a little something, okay?
Oh, I got you. Locked in. You're in the arsenal.
Awesome. You have a wonderful day. Stay blessed. I'll talk to you
soon.
soon.
Much love, Queen. Peace out.
Bye.